All right, we should be live. We should have audio. I'm a little coarse in the throat today. I'm not sure why, so I'm not sick. It's like my voice hasn't woken up. So welcome back, everybody. Hopefully it warms up throughout the live stream here. All right, so a massive welcome to all the new subs. The last couple of weeks, the channel's just gone. The podcast was really popular. And the breakdown videos or the reaction videos have been pretty popular too, as well as other stuff. So thank you. It's funny to see a podcast kind of take off. So that was super cool, and I'm going to be doing that probably every second week. It gives me enough time to really think about what's, stuff I want to share and what's sort of going on, all that kind of thing. So thank you everybody who subbed based on the podcast or any of the new video content. I also have a whole bunch of classic pedal videos coming up as well, which should be pretty fun. So I'm kind of got a bit of a backlog of videos already finished, which is awesome. Is that the right way of saying it? I already pre-scheduled a whole bunch of videos, probably the easier way of saying it. Anyway, that's that. Welcome everybody. If you've been subbed for a while, I appreciate it. Thank you again. And let's get into it. So the first one in, I think, was Nella. Welcome from north of Detroit. Very cool. I've been to Detroit once, many years ago. Well, technically, I went there a few times over the course of one trip, so it was only once, technically, I guess. All right, we've got Daniel Taylor here. Welcome, mate. He says, been a long time since I caught one of these. Glad to catch one. Hey, thank you. I'm trying to schedule them up ahead of time, finally. I used to just sort of click live whenever I could. Now I'm at least thinking a day ahead, so that's probably just going to be how it works, depending on everything that's going on. So thank you, mate. Good to have you here. We got Will from Georgia. Awesome stuff, man. And it looks, I love the profile photo here. That the woods there looks very sort of that area. That's super cool. Awesome. All right, let us know where you're watching from, folks. I appreciate that as well. We got Skeeter Diggs here. Is that how you say that? Welcome, mate. Is that Lurch? Hey, how you doing? Hope you guys are doing well. Jace Hands from Florida. That's how we do it. I still watch your videos, guys. So yeah, thanks for all the great stuff. I know I don't comment a lot on stuff, but you're one of the channels I'm still watching. So thank you. All right, we've got G Money from Fort Collins. Awesome stuff. I've never been to Colorado. That looks beautiful. I think yeah, everything I've seen about that place looks pretty stunning. I know it gets obviously very cold there, but yeah, it'd be definitely a place on my list I'd love to visit. All right, we've got Jeremy Donovan here as well. It says, viewing today, thank you for your help with Fender amps. Hey, no worries at all. All good. We've got Eddie. Welcome, mate. Thanks for all your support, man. Yeah, you're a generous dude, so thank you. Thanks for all your comments and all that kind of stuff. He's also a member here. Awesome. If you missed the start of the stream, I said my throat's a bit funny today. I don't know what's going on. My voice sounds funny, but I'm fine. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm like dehydrated or something. I got something that'll fix that. More caffeine. Hey, Grant Roberts is here. I was just watching your live stream, as you're well aware. So thanks, man. Thanks for joining in. I appreciate it. That's a very moody avatar photo you got there, mate. Very professional. I like it. All right, so this is an open Q&A, as it always is. I don't sort of pre-schedule like discussion topics. I always just work with whatever's going on in the live stream. It's sort of a bit of fun. So yeah, we might talk about some of the stuff I've got coming up too, because yeah, I'm very impressed by something that I didn't think I would be as impressed by. So I'll share that with you in just a sec. We got Jeff. Welcome, mate. Excuse me. Neil's here as well. Welcome. Thanks for joining in, everybody. I appreciate it. We got Jonathan from Alabama. Very cool. Shout out to Florida, or from Florida, I should say. That's from Damien. Awesome stuff. Man, Florida's great. I love the weather there, man. It's just, what a place. Early morning in Scotland. Oh man, yeah. I don't know what the time is there, but I'm hopefully it works okay for most areas around the world. I know most people who are in Melbourne or in Australia would most likely be at work at this time of the day, but it is what it is. It's easier for me to do this in the morning. The later I leave it, I used to find like the less inspired I would be on stream. I'd just be starting to like get really tired and weird. So Yeah. Anyway, welcome from Scotland. That's super cool. Another place I'd actually really love to visit at some point. All right, sunny Arizona. All right, we got heaps of folks here. I'm not going to go through everybody just right now, but thank you for all the shout outs from where you're watching from. It looks super cool. Do I still have that Peacock overdrive pedal? That thing sounded awesome. I don't. Now, a lot of the time when I get pedals to come in and all that kind of stuff to pay my bills, I flip them. So yeah, that stuff was actually pretty good. I don't think I've got any of their pedals left, but yeah, they definitely had great tone, no questions about it. I loved the aesthetics too. It was kind of like the Allman Brother artwork. It was very cool. All right, we've got Rob from Boston, another great city. Awesome stuff. Thanks for joining in. Maybe do a review of the Boss EH2, also known as the Do Nothing pedal. Oh man, I gotta look this up. I don't know what that is. Let's have a look here. Boss EH2. What is it? The enhancer pedal. Okay. Yeah, all right, let me share this with you guys. Let's just see if this works. I don't know if this is going to work or not. There we go. How do I do this? Do I move it this way? I don't know. Anyway, the enhancer. It gets 5 stars. That's interesting. The Do Nothing pedal. I like it. That's reason enough to give it a shot. That's hilarious. All right, very cool. Let me just close this out. I'll see what I can do. Actually, speaking of which, while we're on that topic right now, so I'm going through a whole bunch of like the classics, like going back to pedals I tested when YouTube first started, or well, not first started, but when I first started reviewing pedals and testing stuff, like the Boss OD3, and many of which I haven't tried for like 13 years. So I'm going through sort of like redoing some of the old videos with better audio, hopefully better playing, and just sort of make them a little bit more current. Because some of those old pedals, man, that's freaking awesome, and they're a good deal. Like the price of them is good too. So anyway, I'll look forward to that. I'll make a note of that one and see if I can get my hands on it. That's super cool. Dennis says, watching from Melbourne, how often do you check Facebook Marketplace or Gumtree for gear? I check it, but I check it too often. The gear turnover in Melbourne is slow. Yeah, I know what you're saying. So I don't have a Facebook account. So like nearly 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, I got rid of it. I was like, I couldn't handle it. I kept my Facebook page through an anonymous account for a while, and then I was like, I'm done. So I get sent stuff from friends off Marketplace, and I can view it in a private browser window, but I'm not a huge fan of Facebook, so I don't get on there much unless somebody sends me something to look at. In terms of Gumtree and eBay, I'm on there way more than I would like to admit. I'm always looking. You never know, right? Especially as a lefty, stuff comes up, might not come up again. eBay's been surprisingly great in Australia lately for stuff. There's a few blowout items that are lefties at the moment. They're just selling them for basically half of what they're worth, and I'm thinking, oh, it's almost worth a shot just to see what it's like. But yeah, I like those sites a lot. I'm not going to lie. All right. Oh, wow. We've got a super chat here from Damien. Thank you. I appreciate your support, mate. He says, hey, Shane, previously I asked your advice between a Tribute Les Paul and an Epiphone. I finally got the Gibson. I've never been happier with a guitar. Thank you very much for your advice. Hey, you're welcome, man. That's super cool. I always feel like if you're going to buy either a Gibson or an Epiphone, if you've never had either, and you aspire to get a Gibson and that means the most to you, then it's going to save you money in a way, because you won't have that stepping stone guitar. The Epiphone's a great value, but a lot of the current really good ones will appeal to people who might already have had a Gibson. Then they know what they're buying into. If you're going the other way, like if you're starting without either guitar, I mean, the Gibson is you'll have that for as long as you want to keep it for, and well done. So, hey, thank you again for your support, mate. I appreciate it. All right. And I should also say the Tributes sound and feel so good to play. They're great guitars, so well done. I just wanted to throw that in. All right. Eddie says, "Hey Shane, I'm interested in building a Kiesel with the options seem mind-blowing. How do you navigate this, and how long did the process take from design to delivery?" All right, so I started with the website builder, but I also asked for help. I said, I don't know the specs of this and that. What would it be? And can you give me some advice on pickups? I'm looking for this. And at the time, I was dealing with Brendan via email, or Brandon, I think his name is, actually. Phenomenal player, like one of the best. And he basically said, oh yeah, I'll help you with this. Just pick the other stuff. So if you need help, they'll help you out with it. Yeah, I totally get it, because there's like almost an infinite amount of combinations of stuff you can have, and it's hard to sort of know the finish as well. Like, how will the finish actually look when you see it? There's examples of it, but this was another question I had. Should I go for a matte finish on this type of guitar or a gloss? And they said, go for a gloss. It's going to look better for this type of guitar. So I trusted in some of their advice when it came to certain things, because yeah, you're at the mercy of not really knowing, right? But that website builder is it's so much better now than it was like 5 years ago. 5 years ago it was awful. So they've done a great job sort of getting that up to scratch. So yeah. Let us know if you got any questions, man, about like particulars, but in terms of how long it took a while. I think I waited it might have been 3 months, but it's worth it. The guitar's a killer. Look, if you're a full price paying customer, which I wasn't, I did those videos with them, then they'll probably have a faster turnaround time, because, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. So just, you can ask them that as well. I'm not too sure. All right, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining in. Again, welcome to all the new subs as well over the last few weeks. It's been crazy. And yeah, it's good to see like the channel sort of going forwards again. So thank you everybody. I do appreciate it. We got a super chat from Chileno here. Hopefully I'm horrible with names, so I apologize. I can't believe I've been watching your channel for 10 years. Oh, wow. Thank you, mate. Far out. That's awesome. Yeah. Means I'm getting old, right? That's the thing with the YouTube thing. It's funny looking back at some of the old videos. It's like, man, I used to have a big spike, and I love the shaved head thing, but it's funny seeing how much, I go back to my old videos, I almost don't recognize myself. Like, I had some back problems and I was overweight. Now I'm sort of way leaner, and yeah, I got a bald head. It's like, is that the same guy? Anyway, thank you, mate. Thanks for the long-term support there. That's fantastic. And thanks for your generosity, too. Grant says he got rid of Facebook years ago, too. Yeah, it didn't really serve any value. It was just a time-consuming treadmill for what I do. It wasn't adding... Like, it's good to interact with the community, but I find Facebook pretty toxic. And unless you're really just using Facebook and not directing people out to anywhere else, it was a pretty tough treadmill to be on. So yeah, I just find Instagram better for me. I know it's owned by Facebook, but there's less crap on there. You can just follow the stuff that you like and follow photos of guitars or whatever. It's cool. All right, Lloyd says, hey Shane, I really appreciate your true opinion on guitars. It sure helps make the best choice. Oh, thank you, mate. Well, yeah, I appreciate it. I think that just comes through experience now. Like, I can kind of... The funny thing is that there's not a lot of junk around anymore. You're getting a lot of good guitars from even a less expensive brand. So it's, yeah, unless something's really wrong with something, that's when I point it out. Actually, I've got a couple of videos coming up, one of which I did critique it a little bit, but it was a less expensive guitar. So yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, I think just having many points of comparison now, I can pretty much, or hopefully give you an accurate assessment of stuff. That's the goal. I'm not missing everybody's other comments, by the way. I am looking, so let me just scroll back down. As a lefty myself, what guitar surprised you the most regarding the playability? Kiesel guitars. Not even close. They're my two best playing guitars by a mile. Better than my... Everyone says, well, better than your Strat and Telecaster? Yeah, absolutely. They feel way better. I've always raved about my PRS SE Custom 24. in terms of how that feels to play and how easy that was to play. The Kiesel stuff it's a whole different level. But yeah, they're not super cheap, but they're, I think, the most playable guitars. I've also played a bunch of like really high-end guitars that have impressed me, but yeah, there's one coming up, and it's less expensive. It's like maybe a $400 guitar here in Australia. It's great, and it's by Ibanez. It's coming up, and it's killer. So yeah, plenty of, and Harley Benton. The Harley Benton, that Fusion T I've got is really good. It's like a bargain masterpiece almost. It's really good. We've got RB from Tennessee. Welcome, mate. Thank you for joining in. All right. Isabella says, hey, mate, how's it going? I love the channel. Just bought a Squier FSR classic vibe. Really impressed, especially comparing it to Fender Play Strat. I was just curious which amp you would recommend. I mean, it's sort of like a hard question to answer, but I would sort of say if you're looking for a really great clean amp, go for a Fender amp. If you want something with drive, you can start looking at other amps like Marshall or, I don't know what your budget is either. It's a hard question to answer without more information. But, Marshall make a great selection of less expensive small tube amps, or they also make a great selection of kind of like solid state and digital amps. There's the GFX series stuff. Gets you a great clean, gets you a great drive channel if you're looking for like a practice amplifier. Otherwise, you can pick any number of great amps. The Vox AC10 is a great amp as well. But I would probably say if you're looking for a beautiful Fender clean, or you're looking for a beautiful clean tone, go for a Fender amp. That will really suit that guitar. No questions about it. And that could be dependent on your budget. Maybe start looking at a Princeton and see where you are price-wise from there. Or even a Tone Master Princeton if you're just playing at home. That'll be a great amp as well. All right. Isabella. Oh, sorry. Rob. There we go. Do you think it'd be likely to trade... Do you think I'd be likely to trade in an original release John Mayer Silver Sky for a Gibson Les Paul Standard, or is the Silver Sky not worth enough? It's funny, when they came out, they were like, at least in Australia, because of the demand on them, they actually were charging a fortune for them. I know the price has dropped since then, but I mean, they're a completely different guitar. If you want to go into like a humbucker guitar, do it. But if you want to ever get like a Strat guitar again, you've kind of, I don't know, man. I would check the used market and see if there's any that are at a good price, because your trade-in price might not be worth... Well, it depends where you trade it in, or if you might find someone on a bulletin board that wants to do a swap, and that might make more sense. There's a lot of John Mayer fanboys out there, so moving something like that on shouldn't be too hard. You might even be better just selling it and selling it privately and going to buy something else. That would probably be the better go if you can't do it like a straight swap with somebody. But yeah, it's still a really popular guitar, no questions about it. Smoky Ham says, hey mate, how you doing? Legend. Any blues music you've been listening to recently that you can recommend? Yeah, I've been listening to Guy King's live clips on YouTube, and Jack Pearson as well. Those two I've just been binge listening to. I've got a video coming up about one of those dudes as well, because there's just some crazy stuff going on. But if you don't know Guy King, look up his live shows. Dude can sing his ass off, man, and he's so good. He's playing as like, if you like Chris Kane and a few of these other sort of like jazz infused blues guys, I reckon Guy King's right up there. It's one of the best. He really is. He seems like a lovely dude too. I commented on one of his Instagram things a while back and said, man, I'm going to try and steal that lick. He goes, go for it. And then I was like, I can't work this out. But yeah, Guy King, check his live stuff out on YouTube. It's like unbelievable. He actually does a show with Chris Kane as well. It's fantastic, as well as many other players. All right, let me just scroll down here. I know I'm a little bit behind the chat. I went back up because I don't like missing out on on everybody's comments. All right, no Facebook Marketplace in Japan. We look at Yahoo. Yahoo Auctions. Wow, Yahoo's still rocking it in Japan, huh? That's crazy. I didn't realize that. I guess they wouldn't have a Gumtree over there, right? I think that's like England, Australia, New Zealand is my guess. Hey, Shane, do you still have the Flying V? Can't remember if you sold it. Prefer the 58 shaped versus a bit more to the... Vs, sorry. A bit more to the 60s ones, but all Vs are cool. I agree. I've still got it. Yeah. I'm going to probably break it out this weekend. I haven't used it for a long time, so I'm going to try and... I'm going to change the strings for starters, get comfortable on it again, and give it a go. So, yeah, the Carina style Gibsons are just absolutely beautiful. Mine isn't one of those. Mine was just the only lefty you could buy. But, yeah, I've still got it. It sounds great. It really does, and it's light. It's a fun guitar. I've thought about selling it quite a number of times, to be honest, because you can't really play them seated. You just have to play them standing, and there was a big chunk of time there where I wasn't going out and jamming or doing anything musically outside of the house, and I was like, why have I still got this guitar? And then I was like, you know what? Now that I'm playing out again, I'm going to start bringing it out. So, yeah, it's a cool guitar. All right, let me have a look down here. Damien says, the Schecter Solo 2 Customs are exceptionally made, single-cut electric guitars. These are made in South Korea. Very cool. Korea make great guitars. Yeah, no problems with that. All right, let me scroll down here. I know there's a... All right, here's a good question. As a blues guitarist, what do you look for in a bass player and rhythm section? Well, the rhythm section's kind of like the most important thing. The drummer has to be dynamic and have good timing, and also an intuitiveness that has to come along with, I guess that's experience, but like there's some drummers I play with where I can just look and nod and they know they're going to throw in some accents, I'm going to hit them, and it's just going to work without preparation. Without it's all of those intangibles. Like there's guys that can play the parts, but then there's guys that listen to everything that's going on. Especially the bass players. Like there's a lot of guys that know the patterns, but they don't understand like dynamics at all. They'll just keep going when the band's down at 0 on the volume, or they don't have enough chops to play, you know, like more aggressively, not just by hitting harder, but just busy it up when it needs to. Yeah, but also keep track of the groove. So yeah, for me, that's kind of what I always look for. I always look for people who can play dynamically, and they can do it instinctively without you having to tell them, hey, turn it out, turn it down, you know. So all that kind of stuff. That's kind of what I think about when I play live. I've been lucky. I've been able to work with like 4 amazing drummers that all have great ears, and they can escalate the song. They're not going to, you know, blow their load on the second time round. You can go around 6-7 times and they're still throwing things in. That's the kind of stuff that makes the difference, especially the drums, especially in that situation, are the key. Because if the guy's already hitting hard to start with, where can he go, right? So, yeah. All right, we've got Mark's Gas Station here. Welcome, mate. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining in. Yeah, this is something I've thought about for a while. A few people have been asking about this, building a Partsacaster. It's definitely something I'll consider doing. I just want to make sure that it's going to be good. I almost thought about potentially getting like a used or a cheap guitar and kind of like decking it out with stuff. I've got a few parts here that are just sitting in boxes, which I would love to use actually. So I'm kind of on the fence about what to do with that. So we'll see how we go. It's definitely an option. And you know, the thing is, I don't have I've got a garage here, but it's not like a tool shed. I don't have a place I can sort of sand gear down and cut stuff. I don't have any of those kind of tools. So I won't be doing that, but I think putting together something is pretty easy, or at least easy enough that I think I could get around it. Michael says, speaking of amps, I'm buying a DSL 40CR based on your videos. Such a bummer, there's a 65-day back order. Oh, no way. I tell you what, man, it's worth it. Just order it and try to forget about it for a while, because it's such a great amp. You know, I have changed the speaker in mine. I found the stock speaker a little too bright for my ear, but everyone's got different guitars and different tastes. It's a great sort of classic rock amp on with the stock speaker, but you do have to turn the treble and the presence back a hair, or back to about 9 o'clock to get, well, for me to get the sound that I like. But yeah, I put a Texas Heat in mine, and it's so playable. I freaking love it. It's a great amp, so well done. I think they're a modern classic, those amps. Not because I bought one. Find me a better combo that's 40 watts for that price. I don't think there is any. All right, we got, is it Cuba from Scotland? Welcome, mate. Yeah, George says, love Sky King. Very cool. have a beautiful hairline. That's hilarious. Supro Delta King was an amp that surprised me for good tones of bedroom volumes. Yeah, Supro stuff's good. They're heavy amps from what I remember. I tested 3 or 4 back maybe 7 or 8 years ago. It's a long time ago now. The Royal Reverb was one of my favorite amps of all time. It had a power attenuation thing on there too. So the second last setting and crank up the amp, and it sounded so good. I'd love to actually try some more Supro stuff. I just haven't been in a situation where I've been able to. I think it's just one of those things. And I don't really reach out to a lot of companies either. Kind of don't really do that anymore. But yeah, I need to. That's definitely an amp brand I would like to showcase more. What year did the Rolling Stones release their first record? You won't get it right. Was it like 1650? What guitar would you pick? A Fender Player 2 or a Silver Sky SE? Man, I don't know. Like I haven't played a Fender Player 2. I've seen them. They look fine. I just haven't picked one up as a lefty. There's none in Australia right now. So unfortunately, I don't really like to give opinions on stuff of guitars I haven't played. And unfortunately, the Silver Sky SE isn't a guitar that I've played either. I think looking at, they're probably very similar. My instinct with this would probably be go for the Fender Player 2, because it's the most current kind of guitar, and if you don't love it, it may be easier to flip. But the Silver Sky SEs look like solid guitars, and my friend Ben really likes them. He helped me with a review here, and I picked it up and looked at it. It's a great guitar, but I haven't played with one of those either, and that might be happening at some point this year. So I do know they're releasing lefties, and I think if it all works out, I might be able to review them around the same time. So it might not be for another couple of months, but yeah, I can't really answer that. Maybe righties in the comments might be able to give you an opinion on them, but yeah, I'm not sure which way I would go either with that, because the Silver Sky SE really appeals to me as well. But the Fender Player 2s also look great. I've seen them in the stores. They look really nice, but yeah, not playing them it's a hard thing for me to recommend. Have I tried the PV Classic 20 head? Just pick one up and I love it. I have not. I've seen them online. I haven't tried one before. It's definitely an amp I would like to try. 1964. There we go. Cool. Paul says he's got the Classic 20 head and the 1x12 cab. It's awesome. Awesome stuff. 20 watts is pretty much all you need, right? It's pretty loud for most. Like, I've been using my Tweed tone amp lately out live, and it's plenty. Oh, thanks, man. Thanks, RB. Sorry, I missed this come in. One day, if you just feel like playing for us, not necessarily a lesson, please consider playing I Still Got the Blues. Oh, man, I love that tune. Yeah, I don't know the hook riffs, or I mean, I can't play that note for note. I've never sat down to do it, but it's such a great song. It really is. Gary Moore, man, just was an absolute beast. Yeah, he's one of those guys I always thought was too much of a shredder until I got. There's an album where he's like a kid sitting on a bed. I can't remember the name of the album, but he's got his guitar in his lap and there's posters of everybody on the wall. It's a great album, and that completely changed my mind on him. I'm like, oh, this guy's the real deal. Like, he's, yeah, not just like a rock dude. I mean, he could obviously do all the rock stuff too, but yeah, just a wizard on guitar, could play everything. So All right, we'll see how we do with that one. Thanks, mate. Thanks again for the super chat. Did I ever review the NewX Amp Academy? I'm thinking of getting one. No, I don't know what that is. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Amp Academy. NS6. No, I don't think so. I don't remember doing that one. So I'll have a look into... The guys from NewX are pretty good, so if there's anything that's like just come out or whatever, odds are I'll get my hands on it. All right. Good shout out about drummers. In my experience, some drummers are doing too much to show off their tricks instead of supporting the song. And don't get me started on drummers who speed up through the show. Yeah, I mean, all musicians are guilty of this. There's too many guitar players who noodle over the vocals and stuff like that, and that's maybe even more egregious. But yeah, you're right. The drummers' mentality, because they're sort of like in charge of the overall vibe of the song. Sometimes they think they're leading the band, and it's like everybody's working together. That's the plan, and you got to kind of work with the vibe of the song. And yeah, I've worked with those kind of dudes too, mate. Absolutely. Yeah, it's nothing more frustrating than drummers who speed up. There's one guy in the jam circuit who's like notoriously bad, and you start off with the slow blues, and at the end you're doing 165 beat per minute shuffle. Hey, MattyK's back. Welcome, mate. Thanks for joining in. Thanks again for all your support, mate. Hope you're doing well. We got Mitch Martin says, what hollow body guitars do you have? The only one I've got is my Kiesel. That's it. I got the Kiesel. I always forget the name of it. It's like a single cut hollow body. SCH. Something like that. Anyway, it's killer. That's it. I don't have my 335 anymore. I sold that probably 4 years ago. I don't remember how long ago that was, actually. It was a while ago now. No, not 4 years ago. It would have been 3 years ago. And yeah, that's probably it, I think, from memory. Got anything else? No, that's it. I'm just trying to remember. Kyle says, hey Shane, loved your video on the custom Defender. I use it in my band and it does the punk meets blues style. We got so well. Very cool, mate. That's awesome. Glad it works for you. That's super cool. Yeah, those little amps are pretty loud for 5 watts. At least I thought they were. And I liked that little sort of rotate. What was it? Like an EQ control that was notched. You just sort of click it into different positions. That was super cool. Hey, here's a guy that we're talking about on drums here. Pity we didn't get a set together Sunday, but it was great to catch up and watch you playing. Keeps going to new levels. Do you practice a lot before live playing? You know what? I didn't for that jam. I've actually had this problem with my thumb the last few weeks, which I don't want to keep whinging about, but I heard it doing some weight training stuff. I put too much pressure on the inside of this, and it's made sort of like gripping things really hard at the moment. So I'm actually really sore in here too. It'll go away. I've done this before, but yeah, so I didn't actually do any practice before that at all. I actually had a few days off, which was kind of strange, or not off. I filmed, but I was sore, which probably wasn't the smart move. But yeah, usually a few days before I go play live, I'll stand up and play again and just start getting the vibe on whatever it is I want to take down to the, if I'm playing sorry, 1 second. I think someone's at my door. 1 sec. All right, just a quick delivery. They can leave it there, that's fine. Yeah, so I always like to warm up my hands a bit if I can, but it just depends if I've got enough time to do it. So yeah, usually I would definitely like to play. I would stand up and play ahead of going out of the house just to see where my flow's at and all that kind of stuff. But if I'm playing enough, I don't normally need to do that. And Drew's a great example of a drummer that listens. He's got all the stuff. He's got all of it. And you've seen Drew on a whole bunch of the live clips I've posted over the years, the Keys to the Guitar Shop series, and yeah, plenty of other stuff. So yeah, hopefully we get a jam this weekend, mate. It'll be awesome. All right, we got Silverback is here. Welcome, mate. Hey, Jamal melting away in Texas. That's awesome. All right. Oh, we get a super chat down here. Oh, thank you, MattyK. You're awesome, man. I have to throw a shout out to JP Henry Amps. He worked with Keith and Clapton. He made amazing hand-wired amps. Okay, cool, man. JP Henry Amps. Henry Amps. I don't know anything about this particular brand. All right, looks like I found the website. Let me just... How does this work again here? All right. Oh, this is really hard to do with the... I've got the overlay for the live stream above the website, and then I have to click behind the... Is this the brand? Very cool. Yeah, anyway, I don't know anything about these, but they look pretty cool. So, yeah, oh, thanks for the support, and yeah, I'll look into these, man. I'm tipping they're probably pretty high-end if I had to guess, but yeah, they look super cool. So it's henryamps.com. Very cool. And thanks again, mate. Thanks for all your generosity. You're just crazy. Thank you, in a good way. All right. Hey, Hutch, mate. How you doing, man? Hope you're doing well. It's been a long time for me. I'm getting old and slowing down. Oh, come on, mate. That's not the attitude. You're doing fine. Just keep playing guitar and keep doing your stuff. Anyway, thank you, mate. Thanks for joining in. Hutch has been around since I think I first started my YouTube channel. He's one of the earliest subs that I remember seeing on back when I first started posting videos. So thank you, mate. All right, Shane says, a friend of mine feels that with the decline of 4x12 cabs, guitars are not cutting through the mix these days. Too many bands sound just like drums and vocals. Do you agree? I think there's probably less emphasis on people taking pride in their sound. You know, like that's probably a big part of it. Just because something's got a single 12-inch speaker doesn't mean it's not going to be loud enough. It just comes down to people having pretty average tones. Like even at the jams we go to, I would say 3 out of 5 people or more have pretty poor guitar tones. Like they just don't care. They don't bring anything. They've got the pedal they've had forever that sounds pretty bland. They're plugging it into whatever amp is there. I think a big part of it is probably to do with that, where people don't have pride in their sound. You know, and I'm always like the other night there was an amp, there was a harmonica amp. I'll just plug into that. No thanks. I'm getting my amp out. And then everyone wanted to use my amp because it sounded arguably better. So yeah, you've got to kind of keep, you know, if my tone's good, I play well. And you might be right. Maybe people are EQing the mix differently as well. There could be a part of the sound of the stage might be someone who's hasn't worked on it enough over the years and doesn't know how to balance things out, because you can get a good sound with a small amp mic'd up on a stage if the sound guy knows what they're doing. So yeah, it could be a few different things. It's an interesting conversation, but I tell you what, nothing beats a 4x10s or 4x12 is probably a bit much for most obviously smaller venues. But yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting question. Hey, thank you, Hutch. Far out, man. Excuse me. Yeah, thanks again for all your support, mate. I don't know what else to say, but yeah, rock on. You're yeah, like I said before, you've been around since I think the beginning of the channel, so thank you. Artist guitars are great. Semi-hollow guitars, yes. So I have tried some of those. I don't have them anymore, or I didn't keep them. They either went back or I moved them on. But yeah, they make a whole bunch of cool stuff. Yeah, there we go. So Drew's great. Yeah, if you want to listen to any drum tracks, go check out Drew's Drum Tracks YouTube channel. It's hard to say. What about that Epiphone I tried? Well, that's coming up. I sort of don't want to ruin that. That's the only video I don't want to spoil, because it's, yeah. All I'll say is I got to test one of those inspired by Gibson Epiphones, and it was really impressive. I've never played one being a lefty, and this thing shocked me how great it was. So, yeah, I had no expectations of being that enamored by it, and it was like, this is great. Just one sec, guys. All right, we used the mute button that time. Hopefully it worked. All right, we'll just get some caffeine going. All right, we got George. He says, "Hey Shane, thanks for the stream. Home play here. Any opinion, about the HX Stomp or products like it? I don't know whether to get a tube amp or a Modler, and got chicken pics after your last live stream. They're great. They're awesome, mate. I'm a big fan. There's my chicken pics right there. So yeah, it's all I use if I can help it. So for playing at home, you pretty much can do anything you like, really. I mean, you could even go for something less expensive that's still an amp. You know, I always critique digital modeling amps or whatever when it comes to live playing, or some of them at least. But for home use, they're awesome. It's really all you need, right? So a tube amp, if you live in a house and you can make a bit of noise, you can get away with like a 5 or sub 5 watt tube amp, but nothing more than that, because unless you're looking to make a lot of noise at home, you don't really need more than 5 watts. So that's where I would start. When it comes to like all-in-one pedals and options like that, they're all pretty great. But just know if you want to sit down and just play, you need studio monitors or some sort of speaker. Playing with headphones for long periods of time sucks. You know, anytime I'm using the Kemper, I'm listening through a set of studio monitors, and it makes the world of difference to your playing experience. Like, I've never been that into using headphones unless there's no option, or if I'm traveling or something, maybe that's fine. But yeah, I don't really like using headphones. I'd rather have the sound in the room. So just make sure whatever you can get, you can plug it into a sound card or a computer directly and use the speakers that are either built into the computer or externally via a audio interface and studio monitors, because that'll give you the most pleasing sound. I have a hard time recommending like a dedicated pedal with no setup like this. It's not very enjoyable, because headphones, again, they're a bit irritating long term, and then you're at the mercy of how do the headphones sound. You got to get a good set of headphones. All of a sudden you're paying a lot more. So yeah, just some things to think about there. I don't necessarily think like the HX Stomp is a bad unit to have, but you just want to have a setup that makes it fun to use. Otherwise you're going to hate it. All right. I'm always trying new... Oh, sorry. Where to go? Sorry, Will. I'm always trying new stuff, but I have pride in what I know. Sure sounds good. Oh, that's it. Yeah, that's what it's all about. Trying new stuff's part of the fun, because if you've already got the sound in your head that you love, it makes trying new stuff, it makes sense, because you're like, is this giving me something that I like better or worse than what I would normally be using or whatever? So yeah, totally. 410, 412, it's all about the volume knob, 100%. Crank them up, they sound amazing. Hey, Serious Amplifications here. This is Get a Tube Amp. Makes sense. I mean, the tube amps are fun. Like, that's the thing, right? You get a 5 watt tube amp. Even like a Marshall DSL-5, you can switch it down to, I think, a 1 watt mode, right? It's got like 1 watt mode on there, and that thing cooks. It's such a great amp. And I would personally prefer to use that over using like just a digital unit with no setup. Yeah. Meaning, no, you need studio monitors, all the stuff I mentioned before. Oh, here you go. That's exactly what I was just saying. So I didn't see that when I first mentioned that. So thank you, and thanks for being a member too, mate. That's awesome. Hey Shane, any advice on not doubling up on similar guitars? Looking at Eastman P90 Juliet to replace an Epiphone Les Paul Special. Keep both or get rid of the Les Paul Special. I mean, the Eastman's probably going to be a nicer guitar, right? Like, they make killer stuff. And I don't know what you think of the pickups in the Epiphone Les Paul Special. The neck pickup, to my ear, had the same problem their Gibson one has, which is not enough top end. Like, just straight out of the box. I remember when Ben reviewed one, we were both like, where's the neck pickup tone? Like, it was a bit dark sounding. But I don't know. Look, we were talking about this on a couple of weeks ago. Someone asked a similar sort of question, and I said, look, if you don't use something for a few months, get rid of it. Whether you make a 6-month rule, a 3-month rule, or whatever, or play them both and make a decision. If you can afford to buy the other one and you're not sure if you should keep them both, then compare them and see how you feel about it. I mean, that will make it pretty obvious which one to keep. Now, if you're not in that situation and you need to sell the other one first, I would make sure, if you can, you play the Eastman beforehand, or take, I don't know if the shop has it or you're going to be buying it online, but if you can take your other guitar with you and do a comparison, that's always worthwhile as well, because something new isn't always better when you get it home, because you go, oh, geez, the other one actually does this and that. So, yeah, that's a tough question, mate, but I would say, make a rule, make a 3-month, 6-month rule. If it sits there and you're not using it, flip it. That's the easy way of doing it. Because this is the thing, right? Like, just with my guitar collection, if I've got two of the same type of guitar, I tend to play my favorite more often than not. And what's the other one doing? It's doing nothing. So, yeah. How about a good sounding FRFR speaker for your Modler? Well, I mean, that works too. I haven't actually had a lot of experience with those. I've never actually plugged one in. I use my studio monitors here, and I don't really feel the need to buy like an actual full range speaker like that. Flat response, full range. I think that's what it stands for. But yeah, that's definitely an option as well. And you can, I guess, turn it to a volume that works. Unlike, some valve amps, you got to crank them. You can actually just keep them at a low volume and get a good sound. So that's a great option as well. Totally. Chris is here, mate. The enabler. Get the BS1H, bro. You love to sit and chat with you. Sorry. The reason I struggle with these comments, there's two things. One, I'm reading off a screen that's like this big, right? I got a big screen, but the chat comes in on these little boxes. I wish I could show you. It's a bit hard. Little box within the actual small window that I'm reading these. So it always looks like I can't read, but it's just because it's so small. Let me make this way bigger. Let's try this. Shane, get the S1H, bro. Would love to sit and chat with you on my experience with it. I've been rocking it for 2 years now. Thoughts on Godin guitars. So for those who don't know, the BS1H is a camera. And if you don't know, I've got a camera channel as well. Or it's a tech channel, but it focuses a lot on camera stuff. And yeah, there's a sale on something, and I'm going through the gas moment of, do I actually need it or not? Anyway, thoughts on Godin guitars. Solid. Absolutely solid guitars. Made in Canada. There's a few that I've sort of raved about on my travels through different guitar shops around the world, whether they're like acoustic style guitars, but then with electric guitar pickups or whatever the case. There's plenty of great ones out there. I haven't had a lot of experience playing them. I've only seen a handful of them, but it's generally been pretty positive in my experience. The Good Guys Music and Sound video I shot in Hawaii, we featured one there. There's also one in Malmö, Sweden, which I pronounced Malmo because I didn't know it was a U sound, at Music Boutique, I think it was called. And I actually played one in that video. So if you check my Guitar Search Saturday series and find the one shot in Sweden, you'll see me rocking out on one. It was a great guitar. And again, that's probably another one I should have got because I've never seen another one since. But yeah, thanks to the encouragement on the camera gear. Mate, I got so much stuff, camera gear. I need another one like a hole in the head. Eastman a killer? Yeah, Eastman make great stuff. I was actually kind of shocked how nice they are now. Like, even, what was it, 2 years ago, I was at Jerry's Lefty Guitars, and I played the gold top one, which was ridiculously good, and then I played like a 335, which was insane. So, yeah, I mean, they play great, they sound great, they're handmade. They might be made in China, but they're actually made by professionals. Like, they're not like all done on machines and pumped out. They're like, you know, crafted, handcrafted. So yeah, great guitars for, you know, they're not cheap anymore either. They are pretty expensive, but you're paying for the process, I think, now. And if you compare that up against like a Gibson that's made the same way, yeah, you obviously get the point. It's going to be a lot more expensive. Not to say that they're better or worse, but yeah. All right. This is funny. Oh, here we go. Check out Eastman's mandolins. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I've seen their guitars for years. They make great stuff. I bought 2 identical made in Mexico Strats, one for triple S or single, and one for with the humbucker. Trying to decide which to part with. Yes, see, that's interesting. Why don't you turn the humbucker one into a dual humbucker guitar? Then you've got the best of both, because then you've got one that's very different to your traditional Strat. The problem you probably have now, you've got 2 that are almost the same, right? Minus the humbucker and the bridge. I'd look at maybe putting a humbucker in the neck and getting rid of that middle pickup. Make it like a, what's his name? Michael Burks, who was a phenomenal blues guy. He used to play Strat guitars with, you know, like dual humbucker setups. I think they were EMGs he used to play, but freaking awesome time. Fast Eddie says, would you rather be right-handed or have a full head of hair? Great videos, keep them keep them coming. That's what I was laughing at before. I don't really wish to be right-handed. I think it's a good point of difference now. Like, at the start, I was bummed that I learnt to play left-handed for a while. I was like, I should have learnt right-handed. I would have had all these other guitars, but it never felt natural at all. Like, I'd always air guitar this way. The hair thing doesn't really bother me anymore. Like, I thought it would, but I don't really care. I think this is easy. Every 3 or 4 days, shave it in the shower. You know, I've got one of those waterproof things. That's it. Good to go. I haven't been to a hairdresser or barber or whatever in bloody, I don't know how many years it's been now, but a long time. So, I don't know. Maybe both. Or neither. Bandit versus DSL, which would you choose? I think the DSL is a better amp, right? But the Bandit is so close, considering its solid state. It's killer. It depends which Bandit. If you're talking about the red stripe one, I love that amp. It's a killer. But it's the Marshall's kind of special, right? You get 3 great channels, and then you get that ultra gain channel, which you'll either like or you won't. But the 2 classic crunch channels make that one of the most usable amps of all time. But the Bandits, if you can buy them for a bargain, they're like unmatched almost in terms of what they can do in a live situation. They record well. I produced an album for a friend of mine years ago. We used the Bandit for all the clean parts, because it's like there's the clean sound at a low volume, or at a moderate volume, I should say. Have you any thoughts on those guys on Reddit that say lefties should play right-handed as it'll give them an advantage? Not at all. I mean, that's saying a statement like that makes no sense. I mean, my dexterity in my right hand is infinitely better than my left hand. Like, just in terms of being able to, my left hand has no concept of chords. Like, or while I write with my left hand, I've never felt natural playing. It's like you asked exactly the same question to right-handers. Why didn't you learn left-handed? It would have been better. It's like, yeah, I might be in the minority of people who play guitar left-handed, 12% or whatever, but it's like, it doesn't make, those statements don't make any sense. So I try not to get on Reddit too much anymore. Yeah, I don't know, man. Everyone will have an opinion on that, but I just don't think switching to right-handed would have been a smart move for just I would have been fighting against my natural instinct of playing this way. I'm also a little ambidextrous when it comes to certain things. I do some stuff left-handed and some stuff right-handed, but guitar has always felt like you write with your left hand, or if you write with your right hand, you play rhythm guitar with your right hand. So for me, it's always been left. But yeah. Hey, Deshaun, thank you, mate. Far out. All right, let me just make this a little larger so I'm not reading it 5 times. Shane, help. Please help guitar choices. Gibson Gold Top 50s, Fender Tele Ultra, American Vintage 2 Strat, American Pro 2 Strat, AV. All right. So I haven't played the Jazzmaster guitars, and I wouldn't generally recommend buying those if you're in the market for something that, like for the music I play, Jazzmasters, I don't know, man. I think they just look a bit odd. They don't seem to play as well, in my hand at least, over everything else that you've mentioned. Now, I've said many times that the American Pro 2s are some of the best sort of Strat and Tele guitars I've played straight off the shelf in years. Like, they're the kind of quality that the American Deluxe guitars were years ago. They feel awesome. Their pickups are great. I would have no problems having one of those as my main Strat. As much as I like my American Original, the American Pro 2s are right up there. They're really good. So, look, I would sort of say all of what you've offered here are completely different options. So if you're not sure about which one to buy based on which sounds the best, it doesn't really work like that. You kind of got to think about what sounds do you like inherently. Like if you like Clapton and Stevie Ray Vaughan, you'd buy a Strat. If you like edgy sort of classic rock and blues country sort of stuff, you'd buy a Tele, right? The Ultras are pretty solid guitars, but they're quite heavy. So it would almost rule one of them out for me. Like they're not all heavy, but the ones I've picked up recently have been a little too on the heavy side. So then you've got like the Gibson Gold Top 50s, great guitar, or the Strat, for example. And then you've got to choose which one works best for you. If you like to play Guns N' Roses and, you know, if you want to rock out and do all the AC/DC stuff or whatever it is, right, then go for the Gibson. They're completely different instruments, and it's sort of like comparing apples and oranges at that point. But pick the thing that, I mean, they're all pretty versatile, right? It's not to say you can't play blues with a Les Paul, because you can. And look at Bonamassa or Gary Moore or anyone else, right? But if I had to pick out of all the Fender ones you've listed, I would say either get an American Pro 2 Strat or Telecaster. And you can pick the best one for you. The advantage that the Telecaster has is a better bridge pickup. You can't beat a Tele bridge pickup, but you don't get all of those in-between positions. So if you're a fan of like Knopfler or Mayer or any of these other players who live in those in-between positions, then you might want to go for the Strat. The Strat's probably a good choice unless you are more of a country sort of player. And I'm not really a country player. I play mostly blues, and Tellies are great for that. But the more traditional sound that you're used to listening to will be a Strat. So I don't know. I would either say go for the Gold Top or go for the American Pro 2 Strat would be my suggestion, just breaking this down. But it all comes down to your ear and what you like the sound of. But they would be my 2 first picks, or the Tele, because I love Telecasters. But yeah, I remember when we did the Keys to the Guitar Shop series a while back, right? I was playing, I think, a American Pro 2 Tele, and Rick had the Strat. Or maybe he had the Tele too. I can't really remember. And they were so good. It's like we'd been playing them for years. If I can find that, I'll link it down in the description after this, because you can check it out. And we just did a live session at the store. And the Tele, it felt like it was arguably a better guitar than the one I've got. So yeah, they're really nice. They did a great job with those guitars, no questions about it. Oh, far out, guys. There's plenty of super chats here. Hey, I'm just going to take a quick break for like 3 seconds here. Just bear with me. I'll be right back. We'll go for another like 15, 20 minutes or something. I'll take all these questions. And also thank you everyone for the super chats. Far out. Just bear with me. I'll mute this and I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that, folks. It's the first time that's happened in a while. I made the lethal combination of drinking like a liter of water, another water, and an energy drink at the same time. It's all bad stuff. So, Deshaun, I hope that answers the question, mate. I hope that helps. If you're not sure of anything, just let us know in the comment section here. All right. Daniel, thank you, mate. I appreciate it. He says, Shane, is there any used gear that you see pop up regularly that are always a good deal worth considering? Would love to know the deals you see regularly. Yeah, that's an interesting question. It usually comes down to amps. Like, I would see more often than not stuff like Blues Juniors pop up, or even the old PV stuff. It's like people try the PV Bandits and then they either keep it or they don't. It's like there's this perpetual cycle of people buying or selling those as well. When it comes to local stuff, I usually see a lot of amp heads. Like there's a seller on, or there was a seller on Gumtree that had, which is like a bulletin boards thing here, that had a whole bunch of different amp heads, and the stuff you don't see too much of anymore, unfortunately, or at least not. I'm not on Facebook Marketplace, as I mentioned earlier, so I don't see a lot of that kind of stuff, but there's not a lot of like Fender Deluxe reverbs and all those kind of amps. They just don't pop up as often as they used to. In terms of lefties, most of the stuff I see now would be less expensive guitars. I'm seeing a few Tokais pop up from time to time, the main China stuff. But yeah, there's just not a lot of lefty stuff popping up. But yeah, amps, I would say maybe because I'm looking for particular things as well. But yeah, I would say if you can find, like, I don't really know if you're into like amps like I am, but if you can find any sort of like PV Classic amplifier cheap that might be made in the US, or even a Delta Blues, they're definitely worth checking out. It depends. It sort of comes and goes with gear. It's not like I just see the same stuff all of the time anymore. I don't really see that. But yeah, if you can find any good amp that's sort of stood the test of time, go for it if you can get it for a good deal. And people are still pretty happy to make deals on stuff from what I've seen. If it's at $300, you can usually get it for $275, or sometimes even less, depending on how motivated the seller is. So yeah, it's a tough question. I sort of I just search for lefty guitars and sort of see what pops up. And sometimes I actually see Partsacaster guitars pop up quite regularly as well. People have sort of put together their own Strat from like official parts, but yeah, I don't usually take a gamble on that because you just never know. But yeah, just keep an eye on the used amp market, because that's where it's at. So you can sometimes find a great deal. Like when I got that PV Classic back here, I was wrapped with that. It's like the best amp I bought in years, and it's used and it's killer. It's in great condition. Anyway, I know that probably doesn't answer the question entirely, but I tried my best. Hey, and thank you again, Daniel. I appreciate it. Recently started liking Strats. John May, JM favorite guitar. First one was made in Japan. Recently, I like Pink F and Tom Petty. Pink F and Tom Petty. I mean, Tom Petty, I know who that is, obviously. Pink F. I don't know what that is, but yeah, very cool. What was I going to say? Started liking Strats. I mean, Strats are about as, yeah, your ear changes over time too. So, I was always more partial to the Fender sound. Then all of a sudden I'm loving the humbucker sound. Then I'm back loving the Strat sound. So I think most players at some point will no doubt get a Strat in their collection, or a Tally or something, just to see how the other half lives. But thank you again, guys. I appreciate everybody's support here. Far out. Your dominant hand is best for repetitive actions like strumming or throwing. Fretting changes grips a lot better with your non-dominant hand. Well, there you go. That's well said, mate. Thank you for that. That's fantastic. All right, what's this? I cut out a 4.5-inch piece of felt the size of CD and put it inside the speaker cutout of my DSL 40 CR. and that cut out some of the high frequency harshness. Well, there you go. I know back in the day, people used to sort of just tape an X in front of the speaker cone, the center of it, and yeah, that can work too. But yeah, it's a good way of doing it. I would never have thought of that, actually, so good tip. Yeah, there you go. It's not what hand you play with, it's how good you play with your hand. There you go. I'm a lefty but play righty. Oh, well, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, everyone's free to learn. I just knew inherently I couldn't switch being just a lefty with a lot of stuff. Not with everything, but with, especially, you know, if you're air guitaring a certain way, that's the way you're supposed to play. I always felt like that. Wouldn't buy a Fender or a Gibson. Too many better, less expensive options, in my opinion. Yeah, fair enough. I totally get it. I think, yeah, it's up to whatever you like and what you listen to and the people that inspire you to play, what they play and use and all that kind of thing. And yeah, there's plenty of guitar, so many great guitars out now. You can pick any number of great guitars from anywhere, so totally get it. Flipping YouTube didn't notify me. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, the notification bell is, I reckon it's broken. You know, they say it isn't, but it's like my notification, I get to see all the analytics, and it's like the notification bell doesn't work. I get a lot of views from recommended videos or search results over time, but yeah, it's like the notification bell doesn't work. Every now and then on other channels, like one of my favorite channels I've been sub to for years, I stopped getting notifications. I'm like, why? Because I missed one video, I'm not going to get the rest of the notifications. It's like, that's crazy. So yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. It sucks, but just maybe turn it off and on or something and see how you go. All right, thank you again, mate. Thanks. I'm glad it helps. That's great. Yeah, everyone. It's like you know, when someone on my other channel asks me sometimes, like, what camera should I buy? It's like, well, it's a hard question to answer. And thanks again, mate. Thanks for all your support. They split the difference, get a Nashville telly, and that would be a cool guitar as well. Actually, I got a few friends with the Nashville tellies, and yeah, you get 3 pickups, and yeah, you get the best of both worlds in many ways. You're right. And by the way, Range, thanks for being a channel member, mate. I appreciate it. I remember seeing your Joe Biden Master thing last time, so thank you. Yeah, sorry about the dash. I had to go. I was like, I didn't want to end the stream early, so. I've seen lefty pianos at a big dealer in Chicago back in the day. That really freaked me out, even though I play guitar lefty. Yeah, I almost feel like a standard piano to me makes more sense almost as a left-hander, because all the stuff, it's weird, like all the stuff I'd be playing on my lead hand playing guitar would be kind of doing the bits on piano. I kind of felt like that's like a left-handed setup. I always felt like that, like switching it round would feel like it would be the reverse for me. Not that I can play piano, but yeah, that's a really interesting one. Hey, thanks, Kevin. I want to do another one of those this month, so hang in there. The Keys to the Guitar Shop, it takes way too much effort and time, but it's fun. So we're going to see how we go. I might try and get another one done this month. I got 3 guys on board already. I just need to organize a drummer for it, so I'll see what we can do. No, it's just a lot. I got up a couple of hours ago and I was like, man, I need to get stuck into some caffeine, and I left it too late, and then I had a big bottle of water, and it's like, oh, that's the worst combination. The big bottle of water and these guys. Because I don't drink coffee, so I didn't have that much of this one, but I had a smaller one earlier. You can order custom lefties pianos from it. Oh, okay, I didn't know that. Very cool. Sawtooth makes lefty guitars. Yeah, I showcased one once. It wasn't on a dedicated video. It was music go around in Bradenton, Florida. they had a lefty Sawtooth guitar. I'd never heard of them. I had to look them up on my phone and find out some stuff about them. And yeah, they're kind of similar to like well, it felt sort of similar to my PRS SE Custom 24, the one that I got to test. It had 24 frets. I think it had like a humbucker, single coil humbucker setup of something a little different. I can't really remember. It's been a while, but yeah, Canadian maple neck and all that kind of stuff. I see that question come in all the time. I bought an early Sawtooth lefty. Oh boy, what a low quality instrument. Hopefully they've improved since then. Yeah, look, the only one I've seen is the one that I showcased, and it was pretty nice. I think I even did a play test of it as a YouTube short or something back in the day. Oh yeah, speaking of which, coming up, I'm doing something a bit strange on, on the channel starting in November. I know it's a little while off, but I don't upload shorts really anymore. I kind of find them pointless for the channel. But I'm going to try something a little different coming up in November. I've already got the month scheduled, and it's going to be kind of focusing around different stuff. So there'll be more short videos coming up. I'm just going to try some different approaches with them because I don't know. I don't really know if there's a lot of channels that get a lot of views off shorts, but it doesn't really necessarily like help because no one's watching your normal content. So I just stopped doing them, and the channel's doing way better with like actual views. So yeah, I'm just going to try 1 month of pushing them a bit to see what happens, and then after that, it'll go back to normal. And if everyone hates it, I'll just stop doing it. All right. Daniel says, thanks for answering my question, Shane. Just bought a Randall RG50TC tube combo amp. Always saw heaps for less than 200 in Melbourne. Pulled the trigger. It's great. Hot rodded Marshall on a budget. Very cool. Yeah, Randall stuff's pretty sweet. Yeah, a friend of mine's got a couple of their amps. Awesome. Hey, look at this guy. What's he doing here? Welcome, mate. Hope you're doing well, Tony. What's up, guys? Finally catch a show. Your one is too late for me, unfortunately. It was starting at 11. Was it 11 or midnight? So I could sometimes catch the start of it, but now it's like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. So unfortunately, I haven't been able to join in on your live stream in ages, mate. But thanks for joining in. And guys, go check out his channel if you're unfamiliar with it. He posts some really great stuff. Yeah, I've been watching Tony's channel now for a long, long time. I can't remember which video I found of yours to begin with. It might have been like I have a feeling it might have been like a Squire Classic Vibe video was the first time that I might have seen your channel. But it's gone back a while now. It might have been when I just bought one. I might have seen your video as well. So sometime around then. But anyway, it's a while ago. Hey, there he is again. Thank you, mate. Yeah, thanks again for joining in. Guys, go check out his channel as well. It's great. All right. Let me just scroll down. I know I'm right behind the chat here. Yeah, it's a good question. Nella says, ever wonder what happened to the thousands and thousands of guitars made in the last 40 decades? The percentage of guitars for sale in a minute compared to how many were made? Well, yeah, I've sort of mentioned this on a prior live stream quite some time ago. Like, you don't need to throw them out, right? So where are they going? Are they just getting stockpiled? I think the stats globally is like 1 in every 10 homes has a guitar, but I would almost say 1 in every 10 homes has more than one guitar. If you've got one guitar, you've probably got a second one, right? Maybe they go into storage or something. I don't really know how it works, but a lot of people, they're not ever throwing stuff away when it comes to guitars. Maybe poor quality guitars, but if you've got anything that's been made in the last few years and it's sort of a semi-serious electric guitar or acoustic, yeah, it's a really good question. Like, where does this stuff go? Because there's bound to be like, how many million guitars do you reckon there'd be just in the US or in Australia, or there'd be countless guitars globally. So yeah, who knows, man? That's a great question. Aaron says, g'day, hope you're well, mate. Loving the content. Have you caught any of Stefan Hawk's music? Yeah, I have. Yeah, I follow him on Instagram. He's great. I think that was a dude that, I could be wrong. I think he's, let me look, because sometimes I get the names wrong. Yeah, this dude, he actually asked me to jam with him a while back, but unfortunately I was in Japan. I would have really have loved to have had it. He's a phenomenal player. So, yeah, maybe at some point that we'll get together and do something cool, because, yeah, that dude's a monster. I mean, he's a whole other league. I'm like his little finger when it comes to playing. He's a beast. So, yeah, his stuff is great. I absolutely follow him on Insta. James is here. Welcome, mate. Hope you're doing well. Adrian says, hey, Shane, kind of trying to fight the gas addiction. What are some of the things you consider when you're trying to keep or sell a piece of equipment? For me, it usually comes down to, do I like the tone and how often am I playing it? And if I'm not playing it and I don't like the tone, I flip it. It's pretty easy for me. I don't get overly attached to stuff. If it's something that I can fix, then I'll keep it. Like, say I change the pickups, or I don't like the pickup in the neck pickup position, I can switch that out and potentially get a better tone. But if there's other things about it that I don't like tuning reliability, that kind of stuff ruins it for me. I don't want to be tuning my guitar every song. So those are the sort of guitars that I end up flipping pretty fast, and I just keep the ones that are light, hold their tune, and they sound great. So that's kind of what I think about. And if you're thinking too much about buying stuff, you're generally not doing it enough. Like, you're not going out and jamming or going out, pushing yourself musically. And it's really easy to get into these traps. I've been in that trap for ages with camera equipment. Although I use them daily almost. I'm always thinking about, man, maybe I should get this, maybe that'll, I could spend my time more effectively, like working on my chops or technique or whatever, right? So, yeah, there's all of these factors there. But, yeah, I would say inherently, if you're not using something and you don't miss it, get rid of it. And if it's something that you can easily find again down the track in a different version of it that's better, then you can get another one. But yeah, I'm not a big believer in keeping stuff you don't use. I sort of, whether it's an amp, guitar, pedal, whatever, I'm always moving stuff on that I don't want to keep, because it makes you feel good. When you clear out stuff you're not using, all of a sudden you got the floor space back, or you got an extra spot in the cupboard for stuff. It's like, this is good. Oh, there we go. Fun fact, Gary Moore is lefty but plays right-handed. I know Mark Knopfler's like that too. So, yeah, I didn't know that about Gary Moore. That's amazing. He had a really strange approach to playing too. Like, he used to just use, was it mostly 2 fingers or 3? He had this really, he's amazing, but he had a very different way of sort of, yeah, maybe he never used his little finger. Something like that. It's been a while since I've watched him play, but yeah. Hey, thanks, mate. I don't know how many thumbs up we've got here, but let's see if we can get it to, what have we got? 87 people here. Oh, we've got 79 thumbs up. That's pretty good. Thanks for that. We'll see if we can push it over 100 if 20 people haven't done it. That'd be awesome. All right. All right, Michael Angelo Bateo. So that lefty plays right-handed, who plays left and right-hand both at the same time now. Oh, wow, far out. That's crazy. There's a guy in Australia who's an American dude who can play both hands, like competently right-handed, competently left-handed. It's insane. I don't know how people can do that. I actually want to learn some right-handed upside-down stuff for traveling and doing Guitar Search Saturdays. I've got a right-handed that all-in-one guitar. What was it called? The Enya, the one with the speaker. I've forgotten the name of it actually, but it's great. I kept it because it's a great little guitar. I thought maybe I should learn some chords, like force myself to play some stuff lefty but upside down, just to be able to pick up guitars and play them more in the video. So that might be an interesting process as well. We'll see how we go with that. Hey, Mega Todd, thank you, man. He says, hey, Shane, appreciate the channel. What are your thoughts on stuff like ToneX into an actual cab? Yeah, this is the same sort of thing I feel about the Kemper. So the Kemper can go into like a powered full range flat response speaker thing. They have their own one as well. Now for home, that's okay, but there's no way I would play that out live. I would just take an amp. I feel like as a home tool, it's fine, but I would never really want to use that out at a gig. I'd rather just take a 20-watt tube amp. It's easier. I can adjust settings a lot quicker and smoother and all that kind of stuff. But I think it's going to sound, will it sound great? It will, but you've just got to sort of think about it a bit differently. A mate of mine's got I think it's a Helix with one of those full range speakers or flat response, whatever they're called, powered speakers. And they're overly bass heavy. It's kind of just a little bit too on the hi-fi sounding side. So you've got to kind of EQ things a little bit differently. But I think overall, you know, as a home practice tool or whatever, it's great. You could definitely make that work. I just wouldn't be using it for any sort of live playing. There's just no way I'd be doing that. There's more stuff, it's more expensive, and you're going to get kind of like less enjoyment out of it, or at least that's how I feel about it. But yeah, everything's got their place, and I always see that kind of situation for someone who's rehearsing maybe, or even just playing at home. So for that, you'll definitely be able to make it work. Look, I haven't tried the ToneX stuff, but from what I've seen of it, it looks pretty solid. For me, the Kemper is just something I just record with here. That's it. And practice, obviously. I can use it for practice, but I'm not going to buy a powered speaker for it because I got amps. It's kind of how I feel about it. I don't really see the point. And anyway, thanks for your super chat, mate. If it didn't answer your question, just let us know. But that's the best advice I can give you there. All right. I have too many guitars, too little talent because I don't practice or push myself enough. You just got to find stuff that inspires you to play. And if you can do that, you half the battle's won, right? Like a lot of people go 20 years without really knowing how they want to sound or the kind of tone they want in terms of musically speaking. Like they don't really know what they're trying to say on guitar. They just learn the scales and they clunk around. For me, it was really easy. I had a lot of people in my friend circle that were great players, but I also loved certain guitarists, and it was really easy for me to learn. So find something that inspires you to want to play, or whoever it was that inspired you to play, whether Knopfler or whoever. Start learning some songs that you love, or start learning some parts of those songs. And for me, like when I heard Clapton, I was like, this is great. I'm going to try and steal as much of this as I can. And then I found like Robert Cray and Albert King and all these other dudes. So it was always fun. And now I'm like listening to Chris Kane, and as I mentioned before, Guy King's another dude who's just like blowing my mind. Like he's so good. Sorry, burping into the mic. But yeah, you just gotta. Usually, like when people get stuck into just wanting to buy more stuff, they don't necessarily have an outlet for using the gear. So again, this is why I say go to the jam nights. If you go to the jams, you've got something to look forward to. You can work on your chops for the next jam, and you've got a goal. So those goal things are really important. Wesley says, hey Shane, when you record bass for your backing tracks, are you running through effects or gear? So no, everything I've recorded up until getting the Kemper, and still has always just been directly into my audio interface. It's a Focusrite, I think it's called an 18i8, something like that. And it's basically, it's got an instrument line input, and then in GarageBand, I can load up like a bass preset. And there's two that I like. There's like a 60s one and a 70s one, and I just mess around with it until it sounds good. And that adds the amp sort of like after I've recorded it. Up until I switched to my Mac, I was just recording directly into the computer the same way, but I can't remember if I was using plugins or not back then. It was back when I was using Cubase, but yeah, it's very simple. A lot of the time I was just plugged directly in. Bass can sound good like that as well. You don't necessarily even need any sort of like amp modeling stuff for it. You can just go in and get a decent sound if you dial it in right to start with. That line in sound is pretty great, but yeah, GarageBand's kind of spoiled me a bit. It's free, which I like, but you also have like a full suite of different amps and cabs and mics you can use, and I always like fiddling around with that sort of stuff to get the the sound, you know, to where I'm happy with it in the mix. I should try the Kemper for that, but right now I like deleted everything that was on there and just used my own stuff. That's it. So I should... Actually, I've got a bass amp here too. It's a Harkdy one. I should probably maybe try profiling that and see what kind of... see how that goes. Nothing beats a good amp. There we go. ToneX is good, but the software seems half-baked, unfortunately. Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's the sort of stuff that lets a lot of this stuff down. And I think there's a lot of companies sort of capitalizing off the digital market. They've always got another one coming out. And this is why I ended up going for the Kemper. People go, why don't you get the ToneX? Why don't you get this or that? It's like, it's been around for 15 years. They're still supporting it. They're still updating it. I like that mentality. And it's all you really need for getting, you know, the sound that you've got through your own gear. So I was like, I'm just getting one of them. I'll profile my amps with the sound I like, and that's it. And I'm happy. I don't go diving through menus for stuff. Actually, no, I won't give it away. I won't give it away. But yeah, for me, that just makes a whole lot of sense. Hey, Dr. Rick's here. Welcome, mate. He says, just joining between patients. Sorry, I've been AWOL. Had a wicked dose of... Sorry, it looked like it said dose of influenza last week. Nearly dropped off the... Oh, man, far out. I'm sorry to hear that, mate. That sucks. I know a doctor if you need any pills. Just walk into the toilet, have a look at your reflection. There you are. No. Oh, mate, hope you're feeling a bit better, mate. That sucks. Sorry to hear that. And yeah, we'll have Dr. Rick back on the channel whenever he's up for it coming up. So yeah, get well first, mate, and we'll do some stuff. Here we go. Jim says you can also use the effects return of your solid state or tube amp with your Modler. I run various modelers into my Bugera 333 and 4x12 cab. Yeah, it's something I've not tried. I need to do that at some point. I've thought about doing that and seeing how we go, because you can turn the cab sim off even on the profiles you make with the Kemper. So I don't really understand how it all works, but yeah, that's definitely the something I need to try at some point. Oh, there you go. Profiles modelers into a power amp, effects return, etc. Yeah, okay, cool. I think a few people are saying the same thing here. That makes total sense. Daniel says, shame to hear about ToneX half-baked software. I've been keen on the idea. Yeah, actually, I saw Addicted to Gear posted a video about that a while ago. It's actually, I watched it recently. So, yeah, there you go. You can check. I'll link that down below once the stream's up. Hey, thank you, Deshaun, again, man. Far out. Who are some good blues groups in Australia? I mean, my personal favorite one, at least in terms of like playing ability and virtuosity, is Ray Beadle. I'll type it in the chat for you. Just go check this dude out on YouTube or whatever. This guy's on a whole different level. He's like the best guitar player. You know, I saw Ray and then I saw John Mayer, and I remember thinking, man, Ray's right there. Like, Ray's a beast. He can play every style of music. Funk. He's a monster blues player. He can do the Stevie Ray style thing, but he throws his own spin on it. He's an absolute savant on the guitar, this dude, and his timing's impeccable. His rhythm guitar's great. He's got some of the best funk grooves you've ever heard. Right now, I don't know anyone I prefer to listen to over this guy. They're just like, I don't really go to like blues bands anymore. The same dude's doing the same 5 venues, at least in Melbourne. It's not overly inspiring. I think that's why the blues jam circuit's kind of done really well, because once you've seen these bands a few times, you go, okay. Then you watch Ray and you go, oh, holy crap, this guy's on a whole different level. Now, he used to play at B.B. King's House of Blues as part of the house band for a long time in the US. But he can play country, blues, funk, and he has the most unique way of playing I've heard in a long time, and he can sing great as well. He's half New Zealander. I think one of his parents is from New Zealand, and he lives in Sydney. Something like that anyway, but man, just a monster player. He's really special. Like, the first time I saw him play live, I was waiting for him to make a mistake. Like it was so good. I'd never seen up until then. I hadn't really seen any sort of like close up. Like I was just standing there. I'm watching this guy play. I'm like, what? How good is this dude? Like he'd wipe the floor with anyone that I'd seen up until that point, a pro or household name or whatever. It was like, holy crap, this guy's good. So yeah, go check out Ray. It might not be all downhill from there, but yeah, at least you're starting on a good spot. So yeah, check him out. All right, Hogan's Hideout says, hey Shane, thoughts on the Fender Tweed amps like the Tweed Deluxe and Tweed Champ? So I'm not a big fan of the Tweed Champ. I think it's okay. I know a lot of people love it because it was like the Derek and the Dominoes album amp or something like that, but I've never really been a huge fan. I don't love those, but the Tweed Deluxe is killer. No reverb. Actually, I reviewed one, I think, either early this year or late last year, where once you get them up to a point, you don't even miss the reverb. They sound unbelievable. So, great amps. They are on the pricey side. I think they're handmade in the US or whatever, but yeah, it's not an amp I've ever owned. It's the amp you plug into at a shop that makes you buy any Fender guitar. And it happened to me in San Francisco. Guy goes, oh, I'll plug you into this little amp over here. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I plugged into this amp with that Tele I ended up buying, the 52 reissue, and it was like so good. It was just like awesome. I was like, done, I'll take it. And I realized, oh, that amp's kind of special. It sort of suits basically every Fender guitar. You know, it's a good sales trick, that one. It worked on me. Yeah, Addicted to Gear says, Greg Koch blows me away every time. Yeah, I mean, he's a phenomenal player too. I saw him live here one year when he did the Fender Roadshow, and it was just, yeah, he was awesome. Really, like, high level, crazy player. Ray Beatles, kind of along the same lines, is different sort of player, but Greg can do all this sort of crazy stuff, and he does it with precision and excellence, and Ray's sort of a slightly different player, but still high caliber, precise player. He's awesome. And you watch one video and you go, hey, yeah, it's pretty good. You watch the next one and you go, oh, wow. And then he's got like 20 different styles of music. He got bored, so he started like a 3-piece jazz band or something, and then he went back to doing his funk thing. And yeah, he's on a whole other level. But Greg is, you know, he's as good as it gets. All right, we might have to wrap this up pretty soon. We've been going for an hour and a half, and the I try to timestamp these and think of a title and all that after the fact so people can watch it back later. But I appreciate everybody joining in here. I'll take a couple of last questions or comments. Kevin says he built a Vibro Champ Blackface Tweed switch, best of both worlds. Oh, very cool, man. That's awesome. Vibro Champs, awesome amps. Yeah, I love blues bands, but the Stevie Ray Vaughan tone/playing seems so popular, the music ends up all sounding the same. Man, that's exactly how I felt about the whole Stevie Ray thing. Everyone was trying to be Stevie Ray, and it put me right off. I even wanted to listen to Stevie Ray for a long time. I loved his playing when I first heard it. Then I realized everyone's, you know, trying to dress like that dude or play like that dude, and it's just like you're missing the point, you know. Like, find a sound that, come up with your own version of it if you're going to do that, you know. Like, it's like all those other popular Stevie Ray Vaughan style players that came and went. It's like too much of the same thing, not enough sort of uniqueness. I totally get it. I mean, Stevie Ray's sort of like a lot of what he's doing too is Albert King, right? So if you hear Albert King, you realize how much Albert King's playing is just freaking awesome for the bends and all that kind of stuff. There's no one like that. So yeah, it's and Stevie sort of took that, the Hendrix thing and a whole bunch of different stuff, and turned it into his sound. And then, like, yeah, everyone wanting to imitate that completely put me off wanting to even hear it. I'd hear it at Blues Jams and Pride and Joy, and it's like, oh, come on, man, no. But it is what it is, right? It's all part of the inspiration. But I think some players get stuck in that trap, and they just sound like bad Stevie Ray Vaughanabes instead of like, where's your sound, dude? Like, you've been playing 30 years. where's your actual uniqueness? Where's your voice? You always want to keep that in the back of your mind. It's sort of, yeah, that's how I feel about it anyway. All right. Well, we might wrap this up, guys. Thank you again for all the support, all the super chats, everybody for being a part of this. This was crazy. I'm going to leave the ads off the video again, even though it doesn't get pushed. But I just want to thank everyone who donated here. This little crazy, what do you call it? This app I'm using here lets me keep track of everything. So thank you, guys. Deshaun, man, far out. Guys, thank you. Thank you for all the support. I got a whole bunch of cool videos coming up this week, so stay tuned. I got another reaction breakdown video. It's the first where I'm actually breaking down the chord progressions and stuff and sharing more of that process with you, so give that a watch if you see it. We've got some classic pedal videos coming up, which will be stuff I haven't tried for 13 years with an actual amp in a room loud. So I'm doing all of these through the PV Classic 50 410s mic'd up with 2 mics, and there's some great tones there. And what else? I might have some practice amps on the way too, so stay tuned for that. But there's a whole bunch of stuff coming up, and I've got the next few weeks already scheduled, so I'm just going to keep plugging away and getting more and more stuff scheduled ahead of time like I used to. So thank you, and another podcast will be up in the next couple of weeks. I don't want to rush them out. I want to actually think about them a bit more, and yeah, the reaction to that's been great. So yeah, thank you again, everyone, for all the support, and we will catch you soon. And Great Vanzini's here. Welcome, man. Sorry I didn't see you before. Sorry if I didn't say hi. Freddie King's awesome too. 100%. I totally agree. All right, guys, take care. Thank you again for all the support, and I will catch you on the next one. And I've just got to remember how to turn this off. All right. Catch you soon. See ya.